This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Just to conclude with a few personalities that we didn't give their due attention, and I want to conclude by saying that one particular one. I want to mention the name of Meshulam ben Yaakov of Lunel, who passed away in 1170. Rabbi Binyamin of Tudela, when he visited Lunel, which was the city, many of the Chachamim who came from Lunel, they appendage to their last name the word Hayarchi. Lunel is from the moon, like lunar eclipse. So they appendage the word Yarchi. As we mentioned, that the derech of Jews was to take the name of the city, change it a bit, and attach it to their name. So let's say Reb Shlomo min Hahar was Rabbi Solomon of Montpellier. So Rabbi Meshulam ben Yaakov Lunel was one of the noted Chachamim at the head of all the Chachamim of the city. When Rabbi Binyamin of Tudela reached the city, he wrote often with Ravid II and is considered one of the Rabbeim of Ravid III, the Baal HaHasagos. We also have to mention Rabbi Zerachi Halevi, the Razah. The Razah is the author of the Baal Hamar, who was a great prodigy, who wrote the Baal Hamar at the age of 19, and it was considered a very novel that he dared challenge the Rif. Until the Razah, nobody ever had the audacity to question the Rif. We also have a very important name, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Abamari. Anybody know Rabbi Yitzchak ben Abamari was the author of the Baal HaYitor. Also was born in Provence in 1122 and passed away in Marseilles in 1193. Now, this is the name that I want to focus on, Rabbi Yonasan of Lunel. Rabbi Yonasan of Lunel was born in 1150 in Provence, and he passed away in 1215 in Eretz Yisrael. How is that possible even? How did Rabbi Yonasan of Lunel get to Eretz Yisrael? Now, Rabbi Yonasan was considered the leading scholar in Lunel. He was a student of the Ravid Baal HaHasagos, but as mentioned, he had a very different attitude toward the Rambam that the Ravid did. Rav Yonasan greatly revered the Rambam. He studied the entire Mishnah Torah. He sent 24 questions to the Rambam on behalf of all the Chacham of Lunel, and the Rambam replied very gladly with complimentary words to the Chachamim of Lunel, that if they ask these questions, that means they really study the Mishnah Torah in depth. Then Rabbi Yonasan asked the Rambam to send him a copy of the Mar Nevuchim, which the Rambam in fact did. Now there's a very important legend. Legend has it that in the year 1211, the French Crusaders struck up a deal with the Muslims. And the French Crusaders then went not to Jerusalem, but to the north of Israel, to Acre. And they were accompanied by 300 Balei HaTosfos. So the Balei HaTosfos tagged along with the Crusaders in the year 1211, and they came to Acre. They then bribed the Crusaders, and you had 300 Balei HaTosfos living in a Crusader fortress in the north of Eretz Yisrael. This led by Rabbi Yonasan of Lunel, who legend has it passed away in the year 1215 in Acre, and that is where he's buried. So this land, points out Rabbi Binyamin of Tudela, although it had very small Jewish populations, was really overrepresented in the number of great Chachamim that graced this area, and they, as we mentioned many times, became known as the Chachmei Provencia. One more coming up soon.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.